Good afternoon, brokers. Let's close the market. Can we have the closing prayers, please?
There you have it, over there at the Nigerian Stock Exchange here in Lagos. We just heard the gong signaling the end of trading for today, Monday. Need I also add that it's exactly a week or less than a week now to Christmas Day. Of course, we'll be linking to our man over there at the exchange now for more on today's activities. Welcome to Business Nigeria. Glad you could join us again this week. I am Kemi Fola Adeyemo. We'll take you through business happenings at this time. First of all, where the Nigeria Ports Authority says its priorities in the new year will be to improve and entrench global best practices in the country's ports operations. Managing Director of the agency, Hadiza Bala Usman, made the disclosure at the annual Long Service and Merit Award, where about 530 members of staff were recognized for hard work and diligence. She noted that there is need to increase capacity in the country's port system, especially with the entry and exit of goods. According to Bala Usman, critical steps will be taken at ensuring that Nigeria's ports are made competitive and user-friendly in line with the ease of doing business mandate of the government.
On ease of doing business, we're focusing on entry and exit of goods, and that would be attributable to entrenching some of the policies, including palletization of all cargoes coming to the country, ensuring that the single interface of all agencies operating in the port locations is implemented in totality, also facilitating and ensuring that the dwell time for cargo is reduced. We've also noted the need to have our port access into our port locations rehabilitated. This is not just for our Papa area, which is, I think, I would say the most challenging, but also across all our port locations. So 2018 is a very critical year as we seek to entrench and improve on entry and exit of goods into the Nigerian markets.
And investors taking their funds in the federal government's maiden 10.7 billion naira green bond have been assured of liquidity. The Debt Management Office says the bond will be listed on the Nigeria Stock Exchange and the FMDQ O2C Securities Exchange as well. Director General of the DMO, Patience Onia, says the bond will be listed on both platforms in January next year after the completion of the first tranche, which will be open for subscription today and to close on December the 22nd. The green bonds are debt instruments tied to environmental projects, this to address climate change. And now some good news here as Nigeria's external reserves near $40 billion as it has now risen to $39 billion as well. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, the reserves rose from $23 billion in October 2016. Collaboration with relevant agencies helped the CBN raise the reserves and bring down the foreign exchange rate. Let's talk about all this gains for the Nigerian government, specifically the rise in foreign reserves as at, this time of the year. As we bring in now a research analyst at AfriInvest, Eromosele Aziba. He joins us via phone. Thank you very much, Eromosele, for joining us this hour. Let's have your opening take now on this gains recorded in Nigeria's foreign reserves.
Okay, thank you very much for having me once again. So what we can see, it's been quite a positive story, as has been pointed out by the CBN. We know following the crash in oil prices that we saw in the second half of 2014, when you couple that with the attacks on oil installations in the Niger Delta that also started to happen, we saw a persistent dip in the foreign, in the external reserves. And also considering the fact that we started to have a widening spread between the official exchange rate and parallel market exchange rate. So as the CBN had to start intervening in the market, selling FX, this also put a strain on external reserves, which, like you mentioned, fell to as low as 23 billion. But what we've seen is there has been a change in sentiment in the market. We've seen oil prices rally to over $60 per barrel from as low as about $25 last year. We've seen oil prices rally. We've seen attacks on oil installations significantly reduced. So after oil production volumes fell to below 1.5 million barrels per day, we've seen it rise to about 1.9 to 2 million barrels per day. Now, that has also been another factor that has led to the improvement in external reserves that we've seen, as oil still remains a major export product of Nigerian government and major source of revenue as well. So as a result of this, we've seen the impact it has had on the FX market. So the spread between the official and official exchange rate and parallel market rate, which I mentioned earlier, has also narrowed as the CBN has now had enough FX to sort of intervene in the market without this having any significant pressures on external reserves. We've also seen policies with regards to FX management. For instance, the launch of the investors and exporters FX window, which has also been positive for sentiment towards our market. So we've seen foreign inflows into the economy also improve, and all these factors have culminated in the improvement that we've seen in external reserves.
But then we're also seeing the CBN, take a humble route, saying all these breakthroughs now may not or could have been due to the recession, which more or less, prompted this lesser dependence on imports. What do you think?
So yes, what we've seen is from the recently released foreign trade statistics that we saw from the National Bureau of Statistics, we actually noticed that in the third quarter of 2017, total volume of imports actually reduced from the second quarter. Like you mentioned, with the recession and that we faced earlier in the year and from last year, we also saw disposable income of a lot of individuals reduce. So what we started to have was a lot of people looking inwards to see how they can produce things domestically, start to buy Nigerian-produced goods. So this also, like I mentioned, it made people start looking inwards, and as a result, we also saw some sort of reduction in the pressures on FX for importation. So yes, this is also another arm that the CBN has pointed out, which rightfully so is quite true.
And talking about these 41 items classified as not valid for forex, now inaugurated a few years ago, what are you reading as to the progress the central bank is making in this regard? Rice, for example, fish and meat and all are among the items listed here. There's still some loose ends. Am I correct, or is that what you're reading? How do we tighten, all this so that, we can, get to depend more on what we grow here and thereby increase external reserves?
Yeah, so with like you mentioned, with the ban of the 41 items from sourcing for FX from the official market, we had a lot of these importers start to turn to the parallel market. On one hand, then on the other hand, we actually started to see domestic production improve. But the truth of the matter is the domestic production that we currently have so the supply from domestic production is not sufficient to meet the demand. So this still had to be augmented with imported goods as well. Well, I think the important fact is the fact that everyone seems to have come to the realization, okay, that there's a need for us to improve on our domestic production. But you also have to bear in mind that this isn't a short-term task. It's more of a medium to long-term. There's certain infrastructure that needs to be put in place as well. So beyond the CBN just banning the importation of these items, we also have to think about the fact that we have the physical infrastructure to support production of some of these items as well. So this is also another point of view that we've been looking at. But I think we can say to a large extent the ban on the items has somewhat created that need for us to start to look inwards to see how we can produce these things. But I mean, results are still quite a while away.
All right, you've been talking about short-term gains and all. Let's look at where the interest of the consumer lies. It's Christmas and the end of year. After all, we know how activities are at this point in time. What short-term gains now can the average consumer get from all these figures being dropped, of course, as gains for the government?
Well, so like you mentioned, the economy has come out of a recession. We know how the situation was last year. So now we started to see, I mean, we've seen inflation also drop, even though we might not yet have seen a significant impact on prices of items, considering the fact that most of these producers had to adjust prices upwards in line with macroeconomic realities. But just the general sentiment around the economy seems to have improved. People have a more optimistic outlook towards the economy as we previously had. So we expect to see increased spending, especially from consumers, especially during this festive season, which will also be positive for the economy as a whole.
All right, by and large now, we've seen the CBN and all its activities on import substitution, but then it still has a target now of a single-digit inflation rate by the year 2018. What's the road like now?
So inflation rate had surged significantly beyond the target of about 9% by the CBN. But this was majorly due to some of the issues we're having in the FX market. So we started to have cost push factors also in the market. But we've seen some of these pressures reduce. So even looking at the headline inflation rates, the year-on-year movement, we started to see some sort of moderation, although it was basically due to the high base impact from the prior year. We've seen core inflation reduce steadily. What has remained the major challenge this year has been food prices. So we've seen food inflation continue to increase. But as we start to reach harvest season, we expect this to have a positive impact on prices. So we might start to see some sort of reduction, some sort of decrease in inflation rate.
All right, Romisele Aziba, activist, I should say research analyst at Afinvest. Thanks a lot for speaking with us on TVC News and compliments of the season. All right, we'll take a break now, and when we return, Business Nigeria will hook up with business reporter Yusuf Akogu for the latest from the stock market. Stay with us. You're watching Business Nigeria right here on TVC News. Now let's head over to the Nigerian Stock Exchange here in Lagos to check with Yusuf Akogu on trading for today. Hi, Yusuf. So are we having a business ending with negative in the negative or the positive? And then there's this talk of the billion naira green bond being introduced to the market today.
Thank you, Kemi, and welcome to the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Well, the markets closed again today in the negative territory, although at this period of the year, it is expected because profit takers are very, very visible on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Well, away from that, you talk about the green bond. Of course, by next year, precisely January the 10th, the federal government of Nigeria, or the Federal Ministry of Environment in collaboration with Ministry of Finance, will issue a 10.7 billion naira green bond. And you know, when you talk about green, you are talking about anything that has to do with environment friendly. So we're looking at the green bond will be issued purposely to finance projects that has to do with in the area of environment, some cleaner energy, that has to do with the project, that has to do with renewable energy, and so on and so forth. So the aim really is to ensure that the risk of climate change is reduced to the barest minimum. So that is the reason why that green bond will be issued. Although there was an announcement today, and the real issuing of the bond will be done by January. The feelers we are getting is that the bond is going to have a 5-year tenor. Which means the maturity, the bond will mature in 5 years. So in 5 years time. So that is what that means. So away from that briefly, to look at what transpired today on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, I have with me here in the studio a stockbroker who traded on the floor, Sanusi Dele. Glad to have you on TVC.
Welcome.
We are seeing the market trading in the negative territory, 1.24%. Again, what happened? Profit taking, or investors are withdrawing their funds?
Number one, if you look at the trading today, at the onset when we started, the trading was somehow low. I mean, the people participating involved in the trading was somehow low. But as time goes on, you begin to see some real transaction that really took place. Like Dangote Cement, there's a big volume also today that was transferred from one hand to another. Then apart from that one also, there's a cautious trading today. Like last week that we are having a kind of sell-off, but today the way that the market went is just, it's not really sell-off, it's just cautious trading. And also there's an exchange where some people are dropping, people are ready to pick it. So that's what really happened today. The exchange of hand. They are not really sell off like that. You get what I'm saying? So there's a exchange of hand of shares. That's what really happened today.
And that exchange of hand has dragged down the market by 1.24%.
Yes,
1.24%.
Yes.
Let's look at the Yuletide period. Christmas is approaching. How is it impacting on the market?
Yes, fine. Also, if you look at it, because we are in the festive period, there's a tendency that we have a negative effect just on the market presently. But towards the year, there's a tendency that the market may, the share price may go up, because some of the companies want to close their book very high. So, but with that one, that should be, we still need to be very, very careful what to do on the transaction, because something can go either of the way. You cannot really say that, but something can go either way. But because of the festive period, there's a tendency that the market will still continue to drop.
Let's look at the banking stock. None of them is on the top gainers today.
Okay, the banking stock. It's not that they didn't gain. Like First BN, FBN gain, UBN.
And this among the top three.
Yes, they are not, but some of them gain, but they just gain marginally. Let me just do that word.
Okay. Let's look at the gainers for today. We have Presco, a consumable, we have UAC Property, we have Vital Foam, and we have the UBN. These are the major gainers for the day. What was the level of activities on
for the Presco? There's a big activity on it also. Then we can say that because of the financial is very good, people are buying the stock. How you get what I'm saying? To take position before the final year result comes out. If you look at the UAC Property, the UACN, is doing their right presently. So we can say that you have one or two effects, something like that on it. Then we look at the UBN also. If you look at the price somehow is still low compared to the other banking sector. You get what I'm saying now? If you look at it, because today he did something about it, closed at 9 naira 90 something, 7 naira 90 something cover, which is somehow a little bit low, and people are buying it because of the intrinsic value that is still in it.
Okay. As we round up, how long do we expect this negative trading to continue? Is it going to continue trading?
Actually, as I've said before, you cannot just pinpoint to a particular date. But what it just says that there should be a cautious trading, cautious trading in anything. Either investor, they need to look at the way the market is doing before you can just say that, because we are in the festive period. We are going to have at least sell off for the people to cash out and to do festival. Then as even next year, the beginning of the new year effect also may also make the market to little bit to drive down. But apart from that one, there's a kind of opportunity in the market, and there's a confidence in the this is the time to really buy, to take position before the the full year result begins to come out.
This is the time to take position in the market.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Senator Dile, for your time on TVC.
Welcome.
Well, Kemi, if you are there, this is the time to invest at the capital market. The prices are down right now. This is the time for you to invest your money and make, of course, a very good return as we go into the new year. From us here at the Stock Exchange, it's back to you for the rest of the program.
All right, fantastic advice from you now, Yusuf Akogo. You're gradually becoming into the expert now on stock market affairs. Thanks a lot again for the updates. To our final story this hour, the officials of the Nigeria Custom Federal Operations Unit in Bauchi State have once again intercepted some illegally imported items smuggled to the northeastern state by some suspected smugglers. Comptroller of the zone, Oyeleke Kunle, disclosed that 2 vehicles loaded with 600 bags of 50 kg foreign parboiled rice and 30 bales of second-hand clothing were intercepted by the Customs Anti-Smuggling Squad. According to him, the smugglers now repackaged smuggled rice inside sugar sacks to deceive security operatives. Recall that similar seizure of items worth millions of naira were made a few weeks ago in the state.
The trailer and the bus contained about 600 bags of 50 kg imported rice with the total PPV value of about 20,239 naira with 30 bales of second-hand good. You can see that they have gone far. They are now using bags of Nigerian-made goods, like the flour bags, the wheat sugar bag of boa. They will now put this rice inside it. But based on our intelligent network, we are able to apprehend them.
And that's Business Nigeria for today. We'll return, of course, tomorrow, God's grace, now for a fresh edition. I am Kemi Folade Emo. Thank you for watching. Stand by now for the world, now with Busola Mituashi.